St. Louis sports fans, go deeper with STL Sports Central Insiders. Get exclusive access to Bernie, Randy, Claves, Jamal Mayers, and more. Plus, your chance to watch a Blues game in the alumni box with Jamal himself. Monthly giveaways, Bernie's columns all week, and support for local sports media. Join now at stlsportscentral.com.
It's Bernie and Randy on STL Sports Central. We are presented by DraftKings, where the crown is yours. Bernie Miklasz, the preeminent columnist in St. Louis sports history, as always, with Randy Karraker. And we love having you with us on STL Sports Central. A lot of great sports talk, a lot of things to talk about during this holiday season. And Bernie, first of all, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanksgiving was great, nice and peaceful, and of course, lots of good food. And this year has just kind of zoomed by.
Yeah.
You know, I can't believe we're approaching Christmas, and heck, spring training's only something like 63 days. Give her a day or two, give or take a day or two. It's like about 63 days from now. It's just, Randy, have you found, and I'm older than you are, have you found that the days go by quicker the older you get?
There is no doubt about it. And it seems like things like, it's unbelievable to me. Think about just the 2011 Cardinal World Series. Doesn't that seem like that was like 2 years ago rather than 14 or 24 years ago?
No,
14 years ago.
14. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think about, oh man, I was going to make a joke about myself. It's like accounting for my increasing elderly age. I was thinking about a sporting event. Now I can't remember what it was the other day. This happened a few days ago, and I'm like, wait a minute, I can't believe it was that long time ago. Just what? That's not possible. I forget what the heck it was. I think about that every time, there's some reference or there's some video clip of the 1999 Rams as well.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
Yeah. More than a quarter century. It's crazy to me that this will be Bill DeWitt Jr.'s 31st season as the Cardinals owner. Mm-hmm. I remember, when the 96 season opened, just standing around the batting cage with him and Drew Bauer and Fred Hanser and those guys. And I know it sounds ridiculous, but that seems like that was like 10 years ago. It's just amazing. It does, right. It'll be 31.
This is 20 years now. The stadium opened in 2006, and this is going to be 2026. This stadium will be 20 years old this year.
It's just nuts.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, speaking of the greatest show on turf, I watched Marshall's press conference getting named the head coach at Southern on YouTube. And I don't know about you, Bernie. I don't know if we've even talked about this, but I never ran into a football player in all my years of covering football who was better at instantly analyzing a game after it ended than Marshall Faulk. He is, everybody who says he's a brilliant baseball or football mind is exactly right. He's probably the most brilliant football mind I've ever run across. What do you think of him as a head coach?
I love that he's doing it. And I love that he went into coaching, and credit to Deion Sanders for hiring him to coach the running backs at Colorado. Marshall Faulk, probably the smartest football player I've ever been around. Just perceptive, and he also knows how to cut through the beeswax. He's very succinct and analytical. His analytical stuff is quick. He just understands what's important, and his presence of mind, was demonstrated fully how smart and alert he is. That famous Azeem play down in Tennessee in 1999. Azeem got hit hard, probably suffered a concussion.
Yep.
The Rams could not afford to get stuck with an injury timeout. They were trying to chase down the field to tie the game up. And Marshall raced over to the sideline, picked Azeem up, and basically said, just stand up. Just stand up right here. And they didn't have to call a timeout. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, who does that?
Yeah. The one thing that I wonder about him, and he's 52 years old now. He's a different person, I'm sure, than the one that we covered. But he has such high standards for everybody around him because He knows so much. It's kind of like Bob Gibson as a pitcher. I wonder how the coaching staff of Marshall Faulk will handle his demands for excellence. Kind of like Mike Martz, actually.
Yeah, yeah, there's no doubt about it. That's a good call. No, I think those kids will have I think they've got to have an idea of what they're getting into, so to speak. But man, if they're smart, they'll soak it all up. And even if some of his comments are sharp and, he barks at them, soak it all in, man, absorb it. Because this is one of the greatest players in the history of the game and one of the smartest players in the history of the game. And he knows what winning is. I mean, he was a championship player, and with any luck or whatever, he would have had 2 Super Bowl rings. So no, I wish him well. I'm going to try to find those games next season. Southern. Is it Southern or no? It's
Southern.
Somebody else. Yeah.
It's Aeneas Williams' alma mater.
There you go. It's funny. I didn't know we were going to talk about this. I'm wearing my Morgan State.
Cap. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. The famous Earl Banks, Baltimore legend, 14 CIA championships, including a 54-game winning streak.
Wow.
Earl Banks.
That's amazing.
He was an icon in Baltimore. So I bought this cap to honor him because I had a chance to get to know him later in life. And I know nobody knows who he is, but but part of the thing we do, you and I go down memory lane. So a random memory like this it's like, why not? What the heck?
To your point, talking about a 54-game winning streak, still the longest Division I winning streak ever, Bud Wilkinson's Oklahoma Sooners back in the 40s and 50s. And he, kind of like Dick Vermeil, he came to the football Cardinals, came to St. Louis, I think after 15 years away from coaching, but he had never coached in the pros like Dick Vermeil had. And the players on that team that I know or knew pretty much, and this is not an affront to Bud Wilkinson because he had a 47-game winning streak in college, but the pro players that had him said he was the worst coach they ever had. It's amazing how a difference in level and a difference in time can change the perception of a guy.
No doubt about it. And listen, it's not as bad as it is today when I'm talking about, athletes, people in general who don't remember somebody or something that came before them. Mm-hmm. I bet you a lot of those young guys didn't even know who Bud Wilkinson was. They're like, wasn't that dude was on ABC doing the games,
right.
Keith Jackson, But I could see that. Listen, Dick Vermeil, as we know, because you and I have had many conversations about this, he thought he was ready to return to the NFL and it wouldn't be a problem, that 14-year absence. And he learned a lot of things. Whoa, there's some things that have really, really, really changed, including the way you train players, the way you put them through practices, all kinds of stuff. He had to learn, no, it's different. We can't do it the way I did it in Philly because the players will not. It's not only that they won't accept it, but they'll look at you as someone who is like literally hurting them because you can't be banging each other all week long in practice. And remember how the players were almost, it was almost a mutiny. They almost walked out. I'll never forget that. That was before a game in Chicago in '98. And I caught wind of that the night before, that they were going to have a meeting and they were going to walk out on DV, but DeMarco Farr and somebody else intervened. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and they prevented that. But Dick Vermeil realized he had to change his ways, and to his credit, he did. Where a Bud Wilkinson, I don't think was capable of that. And Bud had a great life in St. Louis, as you know.
Yeah. And
I became an acquaintance with his wife, Donna Wilkinson, and chatted with her quite a bit. And during his long time away from football, Bud became, well, first of all, a really, really smart man. But he became a man of culture in terms of St. Louis society. He was like wherever, quote, St. Louis society, wherever they went and all the social things they did and all the museum openings and everything else, fundraisers for the symphony or whatever, Bud Wilkinson was like front and center, so he what an interesting life he had.
Yeah. And by the way, he lasted here longer than Bill Bidwell did. He stayed in St. Louis and he was here well after 1988.
That's right. No doubt about it. Because anyway,
Bernie and Randy, and Bernie, a lot of people are really getting into the legalized sports gambling here in Missouri, and you can too. Your moment is here, Missouri, because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is live in your state in Missouri, and you can make every game even more exciting with same-game parlays and money lines and props and more, all from your phone, all safe, secure, and easy to use. I have a friend who just made a $50,000 bet. Let's see if it'll pay off. He's not betting 50 grand. He's hoping to win 50 grand for a $25 bet. Missouri fans know game day. We know tailgates. We know noise. We know passion. And now with DraftKings Sportsbook, we can bring that same energy to every snap and touchdown and win. And right now, if you're a new Missouri customer, bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. No waiting, no nonsense, just pure action, powered by America's top-rated sportsbook app. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code STL Sports, that one right there on your page. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code STL Sports. The crown is yours in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. One single use odds boost per customer. Market boosted to plus 100 odds. Max bet $50. Expires at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time, December 7th. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, Bernie, as the winter meetings start on Monday in Orlando, Florida, we all expect that the Cardinals are going to make some moves. And you wrote about this at STL Sports Central, and we want people to subscribe and be able to read your fabulous work. But you, I am of the opinion that if the Cardinals, and this is a long-term thought, I'm trying to be realistic here. If the Cardinals can move both Arenado and Contreras and go all young, I think they're going to be better off for the future.
I certainly believe that case with Arenado, all due respect, Hall of Famer and all that. Mm-hmm. I still think Contreras has value as a hitter. I mean, using weighted runs created plus. I mean, his time with the Cardinals, he's been the 9th best right-handed hitter in baseball. And there really hasn't been much let up there. He's been very, very consistent. So he has value to the Cardinals still because, let's face it, they don't have him and Herrera are about the only 2 right-handed hitters they have that are scary,
Yes, right.
But to your point, the question is, where does he have the most value? Is it staying with the Cardinals to have a veteran presence, a right-handed presence, or is his value more profound as a trade piece? I've talked to some people, and I get different feedback. I'm talking about people from around the country. I've emailed some of my guys, and it's just like, well, do you think, do you hear much about Contreras? What do you think? And I get people say, no, I don't think there's going to be a lot of interest. I get people that say, wait a minute, there's a bunch of teams who would love to add a right-handed bat of impact. Mm-hmm. So I think there will be interest in him. Listen, I think you and I are aligned on this, and it wouldn't matter if we disagreed because that's fun too. But I think I trust Chaim Bloom. I don't care who he trades. If he really thinks it's a deal he can't turn down, or he asks for something and he gets exactly what he asked for, do it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I believe that this isn't a complete teardown, but the more they change things, especially people that will not be under contract much longer. So what, they're going to walk and you get nothing? That makes no sense. So, aside from, of course, JJ Weatherholt and even
right.
They're committed to sticking with Jordan Walker. Maybe Nolan Gorman, I'm not sure. They're not going to trade Herrera. There's a few other guys we can mention, but anybody that where it's like Chaim Bloom and his people are not have already decided, no, we're keeping this guy. We're keeping this guy. Mm-hmm. If he has that, if he's got an open mind, anybody he's got an open mind about, if he gets the offer that he wants, do it. So yeah, pretty simple answer for me that way.
And Bernie, here's my thought process with, and I'll start with this. If I were the Cardinals, and I know that Chaim has said it's a non-starter to buy out Arenado, I don't get that. And maybe he's doing that to try to preserve a little bit of value so that teams don't say, well, we'll just sign him as a free agent. But I don't see how Arenado being on the team benefits the team in 2026 and beyond. As far as Contreras goes, though, because of that value that you just talked about him having at the age of 33, by the time the Cardinals are ready to compete again, he'll be 35 and his contract will be up, and the Cardinals aren't going to re-sign him. His probably premium value to the Cardinals in terms of trading him will come right now. And then if you move him and Arenado, then you can plug in, if you keep Donovan, plug in Donovan at third, Weatherholt at second. You could keep Nootbaar or play somebody else in left. Maybe you could even move Ivan Herrera to left field. You're going to have to do something about center field. Matthew Rocchio and I talked about that on the Randy Karraker show yesterday. But he's going to get a little bit more runway. Burleson at first, give Walker his runway. I think a lot of things open up for youngsters if the Cardinals make a move. And by the way, one other point we need to make here, and we need to be cognizant of, is that in those 2 years, let's just presume that a guy like Contreras is here. During that time, people like Crooks, who you could move to first, Bernal, you could move Crooks to first, maybe even Rodriguez. As those guys approach the majors, not everybody's going to be able to catch. So somebody's going to DH and you could move one of them to first base. I think there's still going to be too many young bats for the Cardinals to get them all opportunities.
No, I agree with everything you said there. And I also think, to go back to Arenado, if Chaim Bloom and his team are 90% sure, 80% sure that, listen, this is our regime. We've brought in a lot of our own people that they can evaluate somebody with fresh set of eyes and standards. And some of our guys have really, really good ideas about helping Gorman. So while if someone blows them away, he would consider trading Gorman. I think he really wants to keep him. And I understand why. Why give up on him when really all the bad stuff that happened with Gorman occurred under the previous regime?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole point of bringing all these people into the organization and all the people down in the minor leagues, but just people who are specialists and people who are better with technology and new methods and analytics. Don't you have to kind of give them a chance to try to get him on track? I mean, what's the point of having a new regime in a rebuild if when you have no power, you have very little power, you have one guy that could be a bonanza if your people can find a way to get this thing cured. So I don't think he wants to give up on him. And, but if Arenado's at third, again, Ali Marmol's going to play him a lot, probably more than you or I would. But, again, you can't move Donovan there. You can't move Gorman there. Where's Sajaci will play some, but third base could have been an outlet for him. Arenado's got to go. I mean, I don't mean to sound cruel. We have immense respect for him. And I've enjoyed watching him playing for the Cardinals. And he's been very enthusiastic about being in St. Louis and in this baseball town. But I think you gotta buy him out. I totally agree with you. You just got to pay the freight.
And the interesting thing, Bernie, is you and I both talk to people at all levels of the baseball side of this organization. And to a person throughout 2025, they said, we can't do what we need to do because Nolan Arenado is here. They didn't plan on having Arenado in 25. They thought they had him traded. Well, if you couldn't do what you wanted to do in 25 because of the presence of Arenado, what makes you think you're going to be able to do what you need to do in 26 with Arenado on your roster? So I'm with you. I would be, and I know that it's distasteful for Bill DeWitt to have to pay somebody to not play for him, but for the betterment of the baseball team, maybe not the overall organization, because you are spending $42 million, whatever, $41 million for a guy to not play for you. But I think for the betterment of the team on the field, buying Arenado out if you can't trade him would be the move.
Yeah, and Randy, this I'll be able to tie two different story type things together. Hey, for the first time ever, Bill DeWitt and the Cardinals are going to be revenue sharing recipients.
Yep,
they're going to be there in that group with the Pirates and the Reds and Tampa Bay and Cleveland and Kansas City and all the small market teams, right?
Mhm.
For the first time ever since he bought the team. Because in fact, the revenue sharing plan went into effect in 1996. And I did a video about this that's online now at STL Sports Central. And if you think about the idea of the Cardinals, the revenue just flowing in at the high levels where they're standing toe to toe in terms of attendance with the Dodgers and the Yankees. And, they were second or third, for the longest period of time. And $3 million a year, at least $3 million a year at one stretch leading into the COVID year, 21 times in 22 seasons. They never had to worry about revenue. Never. And now the problems are so severe in terms of fan interest, not the interest, as we know on STL Sports Central.
Mm-hmm.
The Cardinals are still incredibly prominent from people that just follow the Cardinals without buying tickets to go see the Cardinals. They still follow the Cardinals intensely. But it's just amazing to me, considered where they've been with that attendance and that revenue and being able to count on this. It's just stunning to me that this thing kind of fell apart so quickly to where now they're standing in line, so to speak, with all of these other teams that are on the quote poor side of town. Not really poor, we all know that, but the poor side of town among relative to baseball franchises. That was like when Derek Gould wrote that story. It was just kind of like a wow thing for me that it's reached this stage.
Well, and Bernie and I are going to talk about why the Cardinals were able to have the success that they did. It was really one thing that allowed them to have the success that they did. And if you're a member of STL Sports Central Insiders, you can join us on the other side here and find out why the Cardinals were not a revenue recipient for such a long time, why they were able to do so well. All you need to do is go to stlsportscentral.com and you'll get the chance to check out the second half of this video. You'll be able to read all of Bernie Miklasz' great work. You'll hear from Brendan Schaefer, Kareem Rush. Actually, we're going to have a thing with Kareem and Brandon Rush. That'll be a lot of fun as the Mizzou Tigers get ready to take on Kansas. Plus, monthly giveaways for tickets, and you'll be able to watch a game with Jamal Mayers in the alumni box. And you'll also be ad-free reading experiences on stlsportscentral.com. Insiders will be supporting local independent sports media. So check it out at stlsportscentral.com.